Star versus the Forces of Evil belongs to Daron Nefcy, Disney Channel, and all other people associated with its creation. Please support Star versus the Forces of Evil and go buy the Magical Book of Spells. Hello everybody, Raspberry Barrel here, and today we're reading the first half of the chapter, Comet the Chef. And so Comet is the child of Estrella the Drafted and Saint Azul the Songstrel. And one thing to know about Comet is there's you can tell that one of the most important things about her was her love for her daughter. So yes, we are splitting this chapter in two. Besides from Solaria, Comet is really maybe the only one we know much about, of course, because she is Moon's mother. Okay, so let us begin. Comet the Chef. No magic on Muni was greater than Comet and her kitchen creations, but she was defeated by Toffee, lizard prince of the dark monster nations. Crystal. My wand crystal is baker's quartz. It's called this because it's impervious to high temperatures. Comet, aka my favorite. Note from Glossric. You're not supposed to have favorites. A note from Star. Handle. My wand handle is a rolling dowel from petrified Neverzonian oak. Wand charger. My wand is recharged with pantry crystals, pink or lavender. Millhorse. Little pumpkin. Ghost retired, so Pumpkin has big horseshoes to fill. I have high hopes. Comet the Chef. 5 butterfly power. A rolly sign, narwhal. Height, 5. Cheek emblem, butterfly. Attributes. Strength, 13. Intelligence, 18. Wisdom, 18. Dexterity, 12. Constitution, 17. Charisma, 17. My grandma. I haven't met her, though, because she lives on a grandma farm with other grandmas. Mom says it's nice. A note from Star. First year, the heir of the comet. I have put off receiving this book in my wand passing ceremony as long as possible. It's with reluctance and boredom that I make my first entry into this book. It goes without saying that there are many raised eyebrows throughout the kingdom about my mother, me, my choices, etc. I'm going to write this in a way that would be helpful to the princesses queens-to-be, and less as a matter of historical record. Hopefully, my daughter will get to read this one day and find some comfort in my experiences. Speaking of my daughter, you've likely heard that I'm the first princess ever to have married and had a daughter before my coronation. Maybe you are my daughter reading this now. If so, hello, sweet baby Princess Moon. So, if you want to know how this came to be, I'll put it simply. My mother is an artist. Okay, that's not fair. Here's the truth. I chased food, love, and happiness across the dimensions, and I relished every minute of it. I got a little overfed, a little married, and a little pregnant, and I had a little baby, my sweet Princess Moon. Hello again, sweetie. Soon after, I got a little divorced. Oh well, baloo below, I let you go. Anyway, I'm back on Muni now to accept my fate. I'm going to be Queen of Muni once Mother decides I'm ready. However, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to rule from the kitchen. About humans and monsters. I'd rather not be burdened with the problems between humans and monsters, but the only thing that really separates us from the beasts in the forest is that we savor food. It's either a curse or a blessing, depending on who you ask. If you're critical of the monsters, but you don't sit down to enjoy a meal, then how are you any different from them? First year, 17 moons, heir of the comet. Imagine the situation room on the eve of battle. General Small over Muni, along with the Magic High Commission, stand around a chairless table with maps and charts and little wooden figurines, pointing tiny swords at one another. Each general has his or her own plan or idea about how the battle ought to go, where to expect losses and advancements, etc. The queen watchfully presides over the sometimes passionate banter of the generals, and ultimately she decides what's to be done. Today, Mother invited me to witness this preparation for when I am queen. Twice I caught her nodding off, and once I fell asleep myself. Standing straight up in the middle of the room, when I woke, I found that the hoop of my dress was holding me upright, and I was slouched over it like a rag doll. Upon waking, having the lack of clarity one often does after accidentally falling asleep, I noticed the arguing was still going on. I went off to the kitchen and returned with 7 red Solrance pies. Wordlessly, I slid plates of the sliced pie in front of all the generals in the Magic High Commission. The room slowly quieted as the smell wafted to their noses, and they quickly devoured their slices. I had the attendant keep their plates filled, and before long the entire group was passed out on the floor of the Situation Room. They slept for 4 days. Needless to say, Muny did not show up for the battle, and it was never fought. The monsters simply waited at the battlefield for half a day and then went back to living their lives in the forest. Officially, my mother acted disappointed in my actions. But behind the scenes, she praised my artful thinking and vowed to never allow the generals in the Magic High Commission to argue war plans on an empty stomach. So before I pass down melee tactics and magic strategies as implements for combat, I recommend first making sure everyone is fed. Start with pie. Why pie? My many great-grandmothers ago, Skywyn, thought that her raining food spell was enough to conquer hunger. While it certainly feeds people, it certainly does not feed their need for a satisfying meal shared with others. As long as I can remember, I've had a gift for making pies. Mother says it's in our blood, but that doesn't seem too scientific. It makes more sense that I'm just good at it. Here you'll find my red Solrance pie recipe. Try this before any magic or swords. Crust. You can put just about anything inside a pie as long as you have a good crust. Rats, rotted dates, nightshades, bad marriages, they all come out better once they've been cooked into a decent pie, and a decent pie has to have stellar crust. 2 cups milled wort corn sand. You can use flour. Oh, and these are real pie recipes, so if you want to make this pie, try it. 2 tablespoons cold unsalted pig goat fat cut into 1/2 inch bits. Pig goat fat means butter. Star's giving us what it actually means. 1 teaspoon smile sand, sugar. 1/2 teaspoon frown sand, salt. 2 tablespoons ice water. Whisk the dry ingredients together in a bowl. Toss the cubed fat into the dry ingredients to coat, then squish in each coated cube with your fingers so they become discs. Add the cold water and quickly knead this mixture into a loose dough. From this point forward, you want to handle the dough as little as possible to assure maximum flakiness. Leave this dough in a covered bowl into a cool place. If you don't have any prisoners, you can leave it in the ice dungeon overnight. It's okay to just use the refrigerator, Star says. To blind bake the crust, roll the crust until it's flat and roundish. I use a run-of-the-mill monster bashing club, rolling pan, and that works just fine. Lay the rolled crust into the greased glass pie dish. Cover the crust with parchment paper and fill with smile sand or beans. This acts as a weight to keep the crust from rising too much. During blind baking, cook at low heat, 350 degrees for 40 minutes to 1 hour. Decorations. It's very important that the top of your pie is beautiful. If there's a famine, the inside of the pie may be filled with interesting things. 1 year after the monsters ate all of our food, we filled pies with custard and sawdust and sandal straps. Nevertheless, the tops of the pies were decorated as though the pies themselves were filled with fresh creamed zooberries. I always decorate my pies with the symbol of our family, a small braided butterfly. It's a simple shape to tie from the dough once you figure it out. But here's a little poem for remembering how to tie the crust decorations. This is also how I learned to tie my shoes, says Star. Over and under, around and through. Grab the little Muny rabbit, pull him through. Pinch it and fold it and tie it in a bow, like 2 little bunny ears made out of dough. Glassrick says, she always baked the crust scraps for me and left them on the counter for when I got back from my morning stroll. And that's where we're going to stop the chapter. So, Comet is very nice. She put off being queen. She's the first queen that was already married and had a child before she was coronated. And she did get divorced with Moon's father. Human side did not go to war with the monsters at that one battle, at least, due to the Magical High Commission in general sleeping for 4 days after eating the pie. We hear the little song to tie your little butterfly or moth. We have a nice little pie recipe with some interesting things. Glosswork talks about how much he loves her. Star adds some things like mentioning the grandma farm and how she thought that Comet was just at some grandma farm. She didn't really realize she was dead. And so those were some of the most important things I found in her chapter. Star vs. the Forces of Evil belongs to Daron Nefcy, Disney Channel, and all other people associated with its creation. Please go support Star vs. the Forces of Evil and go buy the Magical Book of Spells. Art of her, or we've never seen her in the show basically without Moon being there with her. Her card is Moon's with her. Her little opening right here, there's baby Moon. Her tapestry, she is Moon. The painting that young Moon looked at in one episode was Comet with Moon.